Seemed like you were going
Jesus, we
somewhere.
haven't even started.
I was going somewhere with it, but you interrupted me.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did
you
you
looked at
really?
me. That's worse.
Everybody look away from Jesse.
What up, world? And welcome to another episode of Double Tap, the show that's about... So, guys,
What is that?
I think it was a Seinfeld thing. The show's about nothing. Is that where you were going with that?
it's a show that's about something. I don't know. We don't know what it's about. It's about whatever we want to talk about.
It's about pop culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've discussed this several
Yeah.
times before, and Jesse still doesn't know what this show is about.
I'm just putting it out there for the fans who are like, ooh, let's go watch that show that's about
They're not watching anything. They're listening to
shrug
something.
emoji.
Shrug emojis.
Yeah.
This week on Double Tap.
This week on
Shrug
Double
emoji.
Tap.
All right.
Emojis weren't around in the 90s.
You're right.
Smiley faces. They were called smiley faces back then.
Are we past the point where we announced Demi as a guest? Like this year.
To me, has been in every Double Tap, and Gabby has been in none of them. So
Okay,
yeah.
no, that's not true.
About Gabby.
Jesus.
Gabby has been in a few of them. I don't think I've been in all of them.
Gabby exists, I'm pretty sure.
I missed
She's a
one.
real person.
You did miss one, I think.
And that was the first ever episode, and I was there for that.
You were there, yeah.
I
you
was
just weren't
not on
it,
camera.
Or in it.
We got some pretty big stuff this week with Captain Marvel's the
Or
first
last week, depending on when this video comes out.
this past week before we started recording this. Thank you. Were the pictures, the first official pictures from Captain Marvel?
Which broke the internet!
No, they
Nah,
didn't.
Really.
But you know,
Nothing can break the internet except like a
Star
natural
Wars.
disaster.
a virus.
Nah.
A virus or like a disaster.
Did you see Live Free, Die Hard?
Force Awakens and Rogue One literally broke multiple websites.
Luke
not
Cage
the
broke
internet.
Netflix.
Luke Cage, yeah, it's possible, Colin.
Not
Things
the
have
internet,
broken the
though.
internet before.
That's not true.
Segments
what
of
you're saying
the
isn't the internet as a whole.
But yeah,
Or
no,
aspects
You
of the
break
internet.
an arm, you haven't broken every bone in your body.
It's a good analogy, Colin.
No,
Not
but
really,
I myself
thanks.
could be broken. You'd be like, oh man, Jesse's broken because his arm doesn't work.
if that's the case, the internet's broken all the time. So yeah, we got our first official pictures of Captain Marvel. Hopefully, getting a trailer within the next couple of weeks.
Captain Mar-Vell.
Pretty sure she does not have a theme song. Colin, would you like
That's why I
to
need Gabby here.
to insert yourself on that? Do you know, since you're the Captain Marvel fan?
Colin, insert yourself.
Get up in there, Colin.
Oh yeah.
Insert yourself in the Captain Marvel. Take your time.
I mean, I don't think she has a theme song. She's not as far as I know.
All right. Well, as the Captain Marvel fan here among all of us, how are you feeling about those pictures that they just released?
I mean, there's some nice pictures. I like the costume seems pretty faithful, which is good because for a while all we had was that like
Greenish,
teal,
whatever.
and it was really confusing. And now that's Star Force, and then she's gonna get her actual costume. Cool, I'm fine with it.
You think they wanted to call it Space Force? And then they had to
No, the
like
Star
change it
Force
really quick?
actually
No,
exists
yeah,
in
that's
the
a-
comics. Apparently, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they did that and not just do like Alpha Flight. But I guess she's supposed to be in charge of Alpha Flight, so that's later. But anyway,
See, Captain Marvel fan. This is why we have this
like
discussion.
it. I kind of wished that they'd given her like the faux hawk look, but I get why they didn't,
It's
because it takes her a while to get to
I
that.
heard a theory that they're going to do like the origin movie thing where like she's going to be fighting someone and then someone's going to like shoot her with energy blast and it's going to like shave off one
That
side of her
would be
hair.
bad.
It's going to shave off the other side of her hair and she's just left with the faux
See, I
hawk.
could see like her getting one side of her head, and then she's like, "Well, I have an injury there. I might as well just shave the other side to match, because otherwise it'll look bad." But if something just happens to shear both sides of her head perfectly, that's a little.
I
We
also
might get that
I
when
also
she
don't
comes
think-
back in Infinity 4, whatever it's called.
maybe, but I also don't think that fashion choice was chosen simply because of the era that movie takes place in, which is the 90s, and that
Yeah,
wasn't.
but I feel like she doesn't have.
She's rocking the Rachel.
concept of time, because apparently she got her powers in the 70s.
Yeah, but she's dressed super 90s in the movie. Like she clearly has a sense of 90s fashion.
Yeah, but
How does that?
that could also just be the options available at your local JCPenney.
confused.
So
at
I
the time.
doubt. Well, I mean, even if she's still based on 70s fashion, she's still not going to shave the sides of her head. That's not a 70s thing.
I feel like it's more of a 70s thing than it is a
mean,
90s thing.
70s is all
Presumably there
about
were
big
people
hair.
Who did these things
true.
in decades past. It
I
just
mean,
wasn't
yeah,
in
but it
fashion.
wasn't in fashion. And
She doesn't have to be in fashion. She's in space most of the time. Maybe space.
Space
fashions
has
are different.
fashion.
She.
Yeah, but maybe their fashions are different.
The
is what I'm
Guardians
saying.
are
I mean,
space fashionable.
she's clearly in fashion in this movie. I mean, she's wearing what? There's a picture with her in a
Leather
Guns N'
jacket.
Roses shirt. There's a picture of her in a 9 Inch Nails shirt. Like and the jeans that she's wearing are super 90s. Her hair is super 90s. Like,
I want to talk about Samuel L. Jackson. That photo of Sam Jackson. Because here's the thing. We were all like, he doesn't age. Right? He has not aged since the 90s. However,
that's not true.
That looks like a super young Samuel L. Jackson. I didn't realize how much he has aged until we went back.
him.
I know, and it looks awesome.
But remember, Jesse, I think we had that conversation off mic, but Jesse was like,
Most of our
he hasn't,
or off mic.
He hasn't aged at all, and we went to look up pictures of Samuel L. Jackson, I think, after that, and like...
He's gotten a little chubbier. Just a little.
He's gotten older, too, like the scruff and everything. He's got like an older scruff.
He's gotten less hair as he got older.
I meant facial hair, but okay.
Lessened the scruff.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. So Captain Mar-Vell isn't, obviously it's not an origin story because we're coming into this when Captain Mar-Vell has her powers, but apparently it's going to be the origin story of Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
Weird to me.
I like it.
What?
It's the origin of Nick Fury. He starts off as a desk jockey, and this is how we find...
I feel like that's not really an origin story if you're advancing through the ranks. That's just like you're good at your job. Origin story is like, I have powers now and I don't know what to do with them.
You don't need to have
I can shoot lasers.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, everyone has an origin.
Yeah.
We have origins.
We have to find... I mean, we're finding out what it was that made
how he became
Nick...
the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
How he became Nick Fury.
We're probably going to hear about that thing that Alexander Pierce talks about in Winter Soldier, where he rescues a bunch of people.
Yeah, and I think
magically.
I think Samuel L. Jackson's the one who said this, but he talked about the fact that we're going to find out, like, Nick Fury for the first time discovering that there's more out there that can, like, hurt us. And it's not just, like, you know, when we see the Avengers where he talks about Thor coming to the planet and us needing to protect ourselves. This is the first time he's actually going to witness something alien coming to this planet.
And realize they need a team of superheroes.
And realizing that he has to be, you know, you have to be more. So I think that's interesting. I want to see some pictures of Phil Coulson.
I cannot wait to see Phil. Here's the thing. Phil Coulson is the type of character who's still rocking a mullet from the 80s in the 90s.
God, yes.
And I'm really hoping they play that up. Like, I want the first picture of him to be the most 80s picture possible in this 90s-centric movie.
I'm curious because, okay, so Nick Fury is a desk jockey when we come to this movie. Mm-hmm. What is Phil Coulson, the mail boy? Like,
yeah, he's working the mailroom.
Figured he has to be the mailroom.
Like, he's the mail guy. What's Agent May doing? Oh, that would have been like the ultimate if Agent May had been in this movie too.
Agent May, she's just like happy and married at this point, isn't she?
She's also a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent though.
Nobody knows who Agent May is.
She's still a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in the 90s though.
That's pre.
It'll be pre-Bahrain.
Bahrain, right?
I don't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Do you have any thoughts on Captain Mar-Vell, Samuel L. Jackson?
I actually didn't look at the picture, so...
Pitch.
Do that while we're sitting here when we're
you have
discussing them.
Access to all the world's knowledge at your fingertips. You can.
Yeah.
Colin was talking about her costume. I think that might be my favorite MCU hero costume so far. I love the look of the texture and I like the colors. I like the red and blue. Like, it's not too bright, but it's also not too muted. It's like a nice balance. Really comes off really nicely.
I wanted to say, I think it's weird that they're not giving her an origin story, considering nobody knows who Captain Mar-Vell is.
But I mean, they said with Doctor Strange that they were done making origin story movies.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. I want to see her origin story.
She's had her powers for 20 odd years when this movie starts, and she's been in space the entire time. And like, we ain't even know that.
She's out there having fun.
It feels weird.
He hadn't paged her yet.
She out there living life.
Did she not come back to Earth for 20 years after she got her powers?
No, maybe she's like Star-Lord. She just didn't feel like it.
I don't feel like coming back.
When did she get her powers in this?
Apparently in the 70s.
Where did you read that? I hadn't heard that.
Somewhere on the internet. I don't know if it's actually
somewhere
true.
on the internet.
Also, how are you just going to be done giving origin stories, but you're not, like, you're still
introducing heroes.
It's
weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, works for Spider-Man. We don't need his.
Because everyone knows who Spider-Man is.
Black Panther didn't get an origin story.
Captain Mar-Vell wasn't Captain Mar-Vell until 2012, so like she needs an origin story.
But Black Panther at least got like an opening montage kind of origin story.
We got the origin story of all of Wakanda and the concept of the Black Panther.
Yeah.
I mean,
so are they going to do that with the...
There's a possibility that they could do this with Captain Mar-Vell. We don't know how they're going to start this story or how they're even going to tell it. Because in the comic book, she gets her powers from Mar-Vell saving her.
Yeah, there's an explosion and his DNA mixes with hers.
And she becomes, so that's a whole movie in and of itself.
And that's a movie I want to see because I'm not that familiar with
that means that we're not getting a movie about Carol Carol Danvers reading a movie about Mar-Vell.
No, you can just make it be about Carol Danvers. Have her be.
But then she doesn't have her powers until like the end of the movie.
No, you just
her, and she gets her powers in the first volume of that
right.
arc.
It's like Green Lantern. Green Lantern is not the story of.
And it's a whole thing.
Pink dude.
You can totally do that.
What's his name?
You can, but I think Marvel just probably got tired of the formulaic origin story.
Then write an origin story that isn't formulaic.
Yeah.
And you have it, and it's fine.
I mean,
like I feel like that's saying we can't write better, so we're not going to do it.
It's not like we can't write better. I'm sure they could write a great origin story. It's just that most origin stories hit the same beats.
Though. That doesn't make any sense because almost any movie is an origin story of sorts. That's how this person becomes whatever that person is at the end of the movie.
That's fair.
And it's not formulaic.
Maybe, but I mean,
the only person who shouldn't get an origin story is John McClane.
I would rather see. I would rather see what they do first before actually criticizing them for not doing it.
Fair. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just think it's weird to me.
It's just a strange thing to say. Like from this point on, we're just not going to do anymore.
Right.
Like for this movie in particular, I still think it's weird because, like you said, people don't know who Captain Marvel is. When Black Panther came out, people were clamoring for a Black Panther movie.
That's because of the Civil War movie, though, not because of Black Panther himself.
But even then, it's like we got enough that this isn't our first time seeing him. Black Panther was not our first time seeing this character. Captain Marvel is our first time seeing her, right? So she is. We have no idea who she is.
Also, starting every story from here on out in media res with a quick montage in your opening credits can itself be formulaic.
It also feels really weird that I don't know who said it. Maybe Kevin Feige, maybe other people have said that apparently she's going to be the most powerful character in the MCU.
Oh yeah,
and we're not going to learn how she got to be that. She's just going to be that?
I think...
Like, what?
See, I think what's happening is it's not about how she got her powers. It's about her... Because I think this movie is about her learning to control her powers and becoming a hero. Less so about her getting the powers. It's about her learning control.
Sure.
I'd so much rather
so she just had
I just want to see her get the powers.
And not been able to control them?
I mean, that's why she still has...
That kind of makes me doubt her capabilities, which is... I don't want to do that because that's what all of her comics have done.
Yeah, I'm like that. That sounds like Carol Danvers to me. Like,
yeah, but that's my problem. Is that that's why I don't like her comics that much, because every single arc is like she has a tumor, or she has amnesia, or she's paranoid. It's like basically the Superman problem of she's too powerful, so we have to knock her down every chance we get.
See, to be fair,
sucks.
I have not read those arcs of Carol Danvers. I've read like a couple of arcs of Carol, but she was Miss Marvel at those times, and those are never the issues for Carol. It's always something of her own little personality flaws that she has. She wants to be the best superhero ever. Cool, but sometimes she's really naive, or sometimes she's really reckless, or sometimes she does this. You know, so I haven't had that experience in reading her comics. That being said, it sounds like their character description of her is very faithful to the comic books, which is what I'm excited about.
Because they're in the comics doesn't mean they're...
I'm not talking about this journey. I'm talking about her character, like, as a person. Like her personality traits and everything like that. She sounds like the Carol that we've read about in comic books, which is exciting.
It's something else that's bothering me though, and you and I talked about this a little bit off camera.
Off.
We don't have
off record. Off record.
Off mic. There we go. I really don't like that. Instead of Monica Rambeau, we're getting her mom.
I am actually really excited about that.
That means that, like, her Carol's first relationship with the woman who was Captain Marvel before her is as a kid, and then she's gonna come back in 20 years and be the same age, and Monica's gonna be an adult. Like, I don't like it.
Wait. So Mar-Vell was Captain Marvel, and then Monica was Captain Marvel, and then Carol was Captain Marvel.
It went back to and
now Kamala
is Ms. Marvel.
Right.
Captain Marvel is still Captain Marvel. She hasn't.
Which means eventually she will also become Captain Marvel.
Of course.
In theory.
In theory.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
At this point, I have enough confidence in Marvel Studios that I'm not worried about it.
I actually really...
I don't think it's going to make the movie bad.
Yeah,
no,
if I was a Captain Marvel fan of the comics, I would be bothered by that.
Because, like, one of the cool things is, like, not knowing who Monica was. In Carol's first run as Captain Marvel, she, like, shows up to go do something, and then all of a sudden there's this kick-ass black woman with electricity powers going like, hey, what's up? And, like, that was really cool. I didn't know who she was, and I wanted to know. And now she's going to be a child.
Yeah, that'd be like if...
and Carol will be the same age.
That'd be like in the next Flash movie if they had Jay Garrick show up and he's a kid, and Barry Allen meets him, and he's like, oh, hey, little Jay, what's up? Like, nah, he's He's the older one.
That's the thing is like, yeah, as for Captain Marvel fans, it's weird, and for people who have never heard of the name Captain Marvel before, it's going to be weird.
It's funny because I haven't actually seen any complaints out of any Captain Marvel fans, except for Colin, about this whole situation. A lot of people
Any of them done an audio podcast on it?
Not that I know of.
Exactly.
I'm sure they've tweeted about it.
I'm sure they have tweeted about their feelings, and most of them are actually
here just to talk about.
Most of them are very excited about the idea of Monica being teased, even if she's not in the actual film. Because a lot of them want to see her more in the contemporary and don't want to see her in the 90s, and then it's a one-off.
I mean, I feel like I would kind of rather see her as a one-off because it's not her story. You want to make a Spectrum or a Photon movie, go ahead, but it's not her movie.
But I mean, if you end up doing that, then that means we have to keep her in the 90s, and why not have her be
fine.
But why not have her be a contemporary with everybody else?
Because we have too many people as it is, and now we're going to introduce Carol and her. Like, nah.
But then you're going to be like, we have too many people, and then we have a movie that's set in the 90s that has nothing to do with any of the rest of the MCU.
I mean, yeah, it seems kind
Also,
of
we
ridiculous.
already know she's coming into the modern day.
Carol?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We're talking
already established.
Yeah, we're just saying Monica. I'm saying if you stick Monica in the 90s and make her a superhero in the 90s.
I'm already feeling iffy about Carol because I don't want Avengers 4 to be the Carol Danvers show.
Well, also
It
remember,
is going to be.
And I don't want it to be. It shouldn't be. It's not her movie. Like, I don't think she should be in that movie if she's going to take over and kill Thanos.
But she's not going to. I don't think they're going to make Carol the one who kills him.
I really hope not, because I also don't like when, and every freaking epic saga does this, where at the last minute they just throw in a haymaker that helps the heroes save the day.
On the third day, look to the east.
Yeah, exactly.
So that one was, he literally said it, so that's on.
Well, no, that's Two Towers. Return of the King. It's random ghost army is going to show up.
Right, yeah.
You know, Star Wars. It's random teddy bears are going to show up, and I don't want Infinity War or Avengers 4 to be random Captain Marvel shows up and solves everything.
Which it sounds like it's going to be.
I don't think it is, though, because it seems like there's so much more going on in that movie than just Captain Marvel showing up.
And I'm sure there will be. But
I feel like it's going to be the situation of Superman and Justice League.
I see that's what I don't want.
She's their Superman, and Feige's like, oh yeah, she's the best one we've ever had. Look at her. And our last image was literally a page going out to her from Samuel Jackson.
I can offer some advice to Marvel.
Oh God.
It would be, don't use Justice League as a litmus test for how to tell stories.
I don't think they would, but thank you. I don't think they need that advice.
It's going to be really unsatisfying if she does most of the legwork.
Yeah, shows up at the last minute.
Has been built up around people who are not her.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
I hope not.
Especially since the Russo brothers already said when Infinity War came out that the reason why the Avengers failed was because Tony Stark and Steve Rogers weren't together.
Also, I wanted to point out that canonically, we can't really have a superhero around in the 90s.
Canonically?
Canonically.
¿Por qué no?
Canonically. Because Iron Man was the first superhero that the world knew about.
That the world knew.
It would be hard to explain how.
She just somehow showed up and did something and nobody knew.
I think if she does like one thing, that's fine. But I'm saying if you leave her there.
Shapeshifters. I don't know how you hide that.
Also Ant-Man.
Yeah,
I guess if these guys are working for like covert.
They're working for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Captain America was like a legend, though. People knew of him. Because even Iron Man, in the first Iron Man, knows of Captain America, so that's fine.
Well, yeah, his dad also, used to work with him.
What are you getting at?
Well, I'm just saying if like the general public is like, oh yeah, there's superheroes around. They've been around since the 90s. Then why is Iron Man such a big deal?
It's not. I mean, Iron Man's a big deal because Iron Man
have already existed. Iron Man is still a big deal. I think Iron Man would be a bigger deal because someone with space powers, cool, whatever. That guy built that with a box of scraps. I can do that. I mean, I can't do that, but I could do that.
Right, but I'm saying, but then that doesn't. All the times we've been told throughout the MCU where it all began with Iron Man.
See, I think the difference is that
retconned.
I don't agree with that at all because the way you could see that is that Iron Man started it all in the sense that Iron Man was like the domino that got tipped over and suddenly everything just fell apart.
Right, but the world didn't know superheroes existed until basically the Avengers.
Okay, so Captain America, I mean, everybody knew who Captain America was. He's a war hero.
Yeah, he was just a soldier.
No.
There were legends about him.
I mean, Phil Coulson.
He wasn't just a soldier. Like, why would there be legends about a random soldier?
Like Phil Coulson,
kicks people
is obsessed with Captain America because of who Captain America.
Yeah, but Phil Coulson works for the highest level of government agency.
But Phil Coulson has been a huge Cap fanboy since he was a child collecting.
Fine, but he knows who Captain America really is because he has access to all the world's
But that's not why he started out as a Captain America fan. He's been a fan since he was a child.
I'm saying he would know that Iron Man's not the first paranormal thing to happen in this world or supernatural thing to happen.
But the point is that he's known forever.
Yeah. Because he's a spy. He doesn't count. He's not the average man.
He wasn't a spy at 10.
He wasn't a spy when he first found out, like as a kid.
I don't think he knew who Captain America. I think he just knew he was this big war hero.
Oh.
Because again, even Vision says ever since Iron Man happened, that's when the world changed. The world changed because suddenly we live in a world
but it's
with
like
superheroes.
It's like Colin said. Now there's a guy out there who just made himself a superhero. Yeah, let's go up against him. So people started taking up the challenge. That's why
we've
Iron
been doing
Man.
it since the 90s. Then
We haven't been doing it since
that means
the 90s.
the world changed in the 90s, not
like
in 2008.
You both have points. Like, I agree with part of what Jesse's saying because the point that Vision was making was, Tony flew a missile into space, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be fine with Captain Marvel.
Well, no, the
existing
point
in
he was making
if
was
she wasn't in space.
Tony
but
came out as Iron Man.
The whole thing was he went, and then that invites challenge from all these otherworldly beings. So why wouldn't Captain Marvel do the same thing? Because she got her powers in the 70s. In the 90s, she's doing whatever she's doing now.
She's fighting an alien empire. So why were they not also attacking during the 90s and the early aughts?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if she was doing all this stuff in the 90s, all of these other world, like Thanos and whoever, what are the things called that Thanos is fighting with in Avengers?
The Chitauri.
The Chitauri.
Yeah, like all of these alien beings. Why aren't they trying to start some stuff?
See, and
Captain Marvel started this in the 90s.
And I feel like the answer to that is because Captain Marvel went to space. I feel like that's gonna be our answer. Is because she went off to space and
were on Earth.
the Skrulls were apparently already on Earth, and that's going to be explained obviously in that film.
Nobody else thought, "Ooh, Earth, things are happening. I'm gonna go see what's up."
That's what I'm saying. Like nobody was like, this Earth woman.
But I think that's the thing.
Space.
I think Captain Marvel is what was holding them off, for the most part.
Do you think that's why they didn't show up?
Yeah,
because she's here.
Because she wasn't here.
In theory, at the end of her movie, she will be in space.
Yeah.
So then the question is, what happened in between then and Iron Man that nobody was attacking Earth? Because now she's not there, so you can go ahead.
I would assume that it's still her. I think
and the world forgot superheroes existed.
And Star Force.
Like she's the suit of armor around the world that Tony wanted.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so why do we need Ultron?
Because also,
like
he thought they needed Ultron because Thanos was coming. That was his safeguard against Thanos.
So why?
Because remember,
no one know about Captain Marvel and everything leading up to.
And I feel like that's what we need the movie for. The movie's gonna tell us these things.
Just like,
I mean, yeah, the answer to all these questions is to go watch the movie, but
it's just like, oh man, I want to build
for the sake of doing an audio podcast.
Speculation.
I want to build this robot firewall. Nick could just be like, hey, we have a superwoman, and this, like we're fine.
That was the last movie we had with Nick Fury in it.
What? Age of Ultron?
Ultron? No, the last movie we had Nick Fury in was Infinity War, which is the last movie.
No, I meant before Infinity War. Age of Ultron was the last movie that we had him in.
Right. When he's when he's visiting, what's his name, Tony in the farm.
Yeah.
Just be like, yo, man, we got this covered.
Because that was before Tony.
obsessed.
That was before Tony had admitted what his fear was. He hadn't admitted it to anybody.
But he did in that scene, though.
Did he admit that he was afraid of?
So I just feel like once you decide to form the Avengers and all that, you could also let them know, hey, by the way,
Right.
we got a girl up in space.
Yeah.
Call her too.
She doing space.
But we know how Nick Fury is. Nick Fury keeps stuff to himself.
Anyway, back to it.
She's in contact with Fury. That's about it. We know how Fury is. Fury keeps his secrets close to the chest unless he needs them.
I will say that it does help with the initial reason for the Avengers Initiative.
Yeah.
Because that's been a complaint a lot of people have had. Why are you trying to form an army of superheroes when all you know about is Iron Man? However, you throw Captain Marvel in there, it makes a little bit more sense that he would. Because at that point, then you have Iron Man, Hulk, Captain America, Captain Marvel.
At that point, it's just like, okay, people just start showing up all of a sudden.
Yeah, Captain America he didn't have yet. But
Did he have? He didn't have Hulk. I mean, to be fair, he didn't have
Hulk
any
was
of
out
them.
there before Iron Man was. But again, he was like a boogeyman. He was a Bigfoot myth.
Yeah, he didn't know.
Nick Fury would have known. The world wouldn't.
Nick Fury would know, but I'm not sure if he was like aware. He wasn't aware of what he could have.
But it is dangerous when you start going back and retconning things and saying, oh, these massive world-implying events happened way before the world started, our world, the MCU started. It's dangerous to do that a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like they're just going to keep doing it. Ronan is in this movie?
Yes, he is.
Oh, God.
he works with the same group that she works with.
So
the
does
Kree.
Yeah, because he's a Kree. Yeah.
So this takes place before he got exiled from the Kree Empire for whatever reason.
he didn't? But he does not. He's not working with Star Force. He's just.
Yeah, he is.
Is
he working with
Yeah,
them?
he's got the uniform. He's working with Star Force. He's part of that team.
I thought he was just
and Minn-Erva
a
and
leader.
Jude Law.
I know Minn-Erva is, yeah, for sure. I'm excited about that too, by the
I'm
way.
like 99% sure they've straight up said that he's
Which,
working
again,
with Star Force.
I thought he was just one of the leaders in the Kree ranks, not actually part of Star Force.
I mean, he's got the uniform.
So does that mean
It's subtle, but it is.
we're also going to get that Ronin origin story in this movie?
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
And Korath as well.
Packing a little too much It's like everybody gets an origin, but the one person who needs an origin. Like, I don't need to know how Nick Fury became director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I need to know what the heck she's been doing.
But
I mean, we're going to find out what she's been doing.
I don't care how he lost his eye. He lost his eye. People lose shit all the time. Bucky lost an arm.
People lose shit all the time.
We saw how
God,
Bucky
crap,
lost
anyone's
his
seen
arm.
my eye? I know I had it right here the other day.
You know what? I set it down and oh, man.
Wow.
Hey, Ronan.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like this movie also, again, to counter what I just said, could be redemption for his character. Because, yeah, he was a terrible character in Guardians. He was trash.
Yeah, he was pretty trash.
As good of a movie as Guardians is.
Yeah. So maybe this will be like, no, look, he has personality. Because now, a few years later, we know how to write villains all of a sudden.
So Jude Law is Mar-Vell?
He's not saying
but
that
yeah.
everybody knows that he is.
Except he doesn't have powers.
Blue?
As far as we know.
As far as we know from this still image.
From what they're saying, it sounds like he doesn't have powers because she seems to be some sort of phenomenon.
To the aliens? To the Kree who've been experimenting on humans?
I mean, they're probably just lying.
How is she still a phenomenon?
I think Lockjaw would be more of a phenomenon, personally.
Like, have they not been doing inhuman experiments at this point?
Yeah, they've been doing it since, like, the dawn of man. So.
Dun, dun. I'm trying to find his quote. Hold on.
Yeah, like Jude Law's wearing the Captain Marvel thing.
And Ronan is also wearing his version of it.
Yeah, it's the weird
like,
Ronin eyes.
Is the Captain Marvel uniform.
Jude Law's is because
that might just be the Star Force uniform.
It is the Star Force uniform because all the other characters are also wearing it.
I have a
that
question.
exact one, because Ronan's is different.
Ronan
might
is
just
different.
have his own because he's Ronan.
Yeah.
So they all have exactly what Jude Law wears.
We don't. There's another picture. That
I'm sure there'll be variation. It'll be like the Green Lantern Corps. Everyone kind of wears their species version.
I mean, maybe Jude Law does have powers in this movie, but they're definitely not hinting at it.
What is the difference between Space Force and the Nova Corps?
You mean Star Force?
Well, I think
Yes,
the
Star
Nova
Force
Corps
and
is that specific planet's military.
Oh, really? They only do Xandar?
Well, I don't know if they only do Xandar, but I think they're formed from that planet. I think.
Because these uniforms look very similar, or the sigil looks very similar.
I didn't know Star Force existed until these pictures
Trump.
came out.
Nova Corps is a intergalactic military police force. Originally a space militia and exploration group for the planet Xandar. And then Star Force is, we're about to find out if I can type.
While she's typing, I'll say that the scrolls look pretty cool. Which I was worried about.
The
Because
scrolls look cool. This picture looks like a Christian rock band.
It does.
And that's fine if that's
what do you got against Christian rock bands, Colin?
Okay.
Trying to say Christian
There are
rock
a
bands
few
can't
that
look
I
cool?
like. I'm just saying I don't want the scrolls to be a Christian rock band.
As for the comic books for Star Force, that's a supervillain team made up of superpowered individuals
Like
brought
Ronin.
together by the Supreme Intelligence. And like Minn-Erva.
Spoilers, guys.
And Korath ends up being
These don't count as spoilers. We're speculating based on the comics.
based on comic
We
books.
don't know
Which,
if any of this is going to show up in the movies.
before we got pictures, I thought Minn-Erva was just going to be a straight up villain
Yeah.
because I knew she
Nakia's
was a villain.
That's true.
In the comics,
Who is what?
Nakia.
Nakia is a villain in the comics, and so is M'Baku.
M'Baku. He was kind of a villain. He was like
He's an antagonist for like the first
Try to kill T'Challa.
30,
Yeah.
for the first 30 minutes he's an antagonist, and now he's like one of T'Challa's best friends.
Yeah,
So
as happens sometimes. You
Yeah.
just got to fight it out.
but in the comic books he stays a
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Korath.
there's
There he is.
Korath.
I got the stars. All the stars are.
Another character that I
They
feel
also
like
have
they
different
can redeem a little.
stars, which is
Korath?
cool. one-
Digimon Hansu.
Yeah, looking like
Yeah, he
Deadpool.
wasn't really much of a dude in
Yeah.
Guardians.
He was
Which is
not.
a shame because I feel like Jaimin gets cast as
Shafted.
that guy a lot. Just shows up for one scene
And then disappears.
and then disappears. And this dude's an Academy Award nominee. Like,
I feel like that's going to happen in
Does he
Aquaman.
have blue skin and a red beard.
Yes.
that's kind of cool.
Explaining to do.
He's
You
in
don't
both
need.
Captain Marvel.
He doesn't get an origin story either, Colin.
Who?
Well, no. At this
I know he might.
Really?
Everyone does, but
We're gonna find out how he gets the red beard.
there we go.
I'm a big fan of.
Is it red or is it white with reddish light on it?
I,
I think it's white
that's a good question.
because Jude Law's hair looks red in that pic.
Yeah, it might just be the lighting.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Her hair looks red too. It's just
Yeah,
The blonde
I think
is
he's
looking a little
he's just
strawberry.
old. He's got a white beard.
All right,
Yeah,
that's acceptable.
I'm feeling Jimmy Chan's hair in this photo.
yeah.
love her hair.
Cool image.
For audio listeners, we're looking at photos.
We are looking.
I mean,
at
we've been
photos.
talking about the photos this whole time. So
Yeah.
the photo of the people we're talking about.
We're talking about Star Force. We're looking at the pictures of Star Force, and I'm
Which is
loving.
not to be confused, although it has been several times already, with Space Force. Which is a different thing.
Those are two very different things. But yeah, I'm excited about the
too.
movie. I'm glad that there's something to look at. It's been like 2 years since they cast Brie Larson, and it's
we're,
just
what, half a year out, roughly.
Yeah,
March,
March. Yeah.
have you?
Yeah, but she's been cast since 2016, and so it's
Jesus.
just it's
Sorry, The Rock was cast as Black Adam like 20 years ago.
yeah.
he's
like
a Black
And
Adam.
we
Like,
have
put it this way:
concept of when that movie's actually
Brie
gonna come
Larson got cast before I went off to university. That's how long she's had this role, and this is the first time we're seeing anything.
out,
And
which
I've
was a long time
graduated.
ago. For people who are not personal friends of me.
I'll be excited when we get a trailer,
Sometime in the next couple of weeks, supposedly that's the rumor.
depending on how the trailer.
I'm excited because everything Marvel does is good at this point. And
It's pretty accurate.
yeah,
I
they never
mean,
made a bad movie since Thor 2.
I just mean movies. Got it.
I do just mean movies. And I also mean the MCU.
by the way, that leather jacket, shield hat combo that she was wearing in that picture, I think I'm probably gonna try and pull that off
course you
for the movie
I love the Top Gun
to go see it.
photos of them in the jets. Those are pretty cool.
I am excited about them basing the tone of the movie off of like 90s action films,
I'm waiting for the
particularly Terminator 2. I'm like super stoked.
I'm
about
waiting
that.
for the 90s soundtrack. It's going to come out of this movie.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so good. Speaking of the
I
fact,
want a shot of her watching 90s TV shows before getting ready to do her superhero thingy. On that note, guys, we're going to cut it there.
thank you guys for joining in on another episode of Double Tap. We are the Reshoots.
Hey, have fun out there.
Bye.
Bye, guys.